Welcome to the Java Cafe, Java fam.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Let me tell y'all, and I think it's so apropos that we have Tech Boston, not Tech Boston. Tech goes home with us today, because today's been very interesting as far as tech. First of all, thank everyone that has texted me, inboxed me, hit me and Anissa in reference to the date on the flyers. The last couple of days, we are transitioning, doing a lot of as much automated and stuff like that. And so thank you. Anissa and I were texting this morning. She made reference to the Java fam looking out. And so I appreciate all of you doing that. I already apologized to both of my guests. And then there was a little tech here this morning while we were waiting to come on. So I think it's so apropos that we're here this morning to talk with Tech Goes Home about and we talk about health equity on this platform often. And there is a digital divide in this country. And so we're going to talk with Tech Goes Home about their mission, what they do, as well as the intersectionality between health equity and digital equity. And so I am excited to get ready to bring into the room Dahlia Cox and also my good friend and brother, Marvin Vinay. I'm going to ask you all to do me a favor because one of the tech issues, StreamYard had a big old exclamation point up here saying, oh, we're having issues with Facebook. So I had to go in and reprogram. And so do me a favor, hit the share button and let folks know that we are here. And without further ado, I would like to bring in Dahlia and also Marvin to chat with us this morning. First of all, I want to ask both of you, as you get ready to introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about yourself, and in ending, describe digital equity, let's say in Boston or nationally in one word. But Dahlia, good morning. And Marvin, we'll come to you in just, and I like that sweater, brother. We'll come to you in just a couple of seconds, sir. Marvin already knows we're brothers, so this is going to be interesting. And he claps back well, so I may not mess with him too much. But welcome, Dahlia, to the Java Cafe. Marvin's been here before, but welcome.
Thank you, Jimmy. It's lovely to be here this morning. I'm Dahlia Busaid Cox. I serve as the Chief Advancement Officer here at Tech Goes Home. However, I think I was asked to join Mr. Vinay this morning because I have a background in public health. In fact, I also teach at Northeastern in the Masters of Public Health program. And so I'm really excited for us to have this conversation about digital equity and health equity and the intersectionality. Love that word. I think more people need to use it. So thank you for bringing that forward this morning. And I forgot my prompt already. So I should start by telling you, I'm 8 months pregnant. So everything is out so just bear with me. Describe digital equity in one word.
Yes.
Is that the
Yes.
prompt? Oh, gosh, I'm trying to think of something really positive to say.
No. You can listen. If it's not positive, you can give context and keep it real. This is authentic space.
I think the positivity is going to come when we start talking about Tech Goes Home and the solutions. I would say that the word that comes to mind is disparities.
Mr. Vinay.
Good morning.
No. I need to give some commentary first because I love this sister. And shout out to 90 West. I'm peeping Alex and the team and Harry and everybody there.
Yes.
Making this happen. And so, Marvin, this wonderful sister here. Is this is going to be good? Background in public health. Okay, Marvin, welcome again to the
context of the situation.
Go ahead, Marvin. This is going to be. I need to text Stephanie and tell her to hop on real quick. Go ahead, sir.
Good morning, everyone. Jim, thanks for having us on. Marvin Vinay, Chief Advocacy Officer here at Tech Goes Home. The word I would use to describe this is challenging.
Okay.
The digital divide is challenging. And I think we have opportunity to really change the landscape, and we have opportunity to change the trajectory of families. And so right now, while it's a challenge, as Dahlia's already indicated, Tech Goes Home is a part of that solution. And we hope to get into that conversation later.
Let's jump in that right now. Let's talk about Tech Goes Home. There's the main topic we're going to talk about today. Give us an overview, Marvin, about Tech Goes Home, what it does. I'm a little bit familiar, but so folks know, that way they can learn how to support and or take advantage of what you guys offer. So Marvin, if you could start that conversation, and we'll go into the intersectionality. Go ahead, sir.
The mission is pretty simple. We empower communities to access and use digital tools with a hope that they'll overcome their barriers and they'll advance their lives and they'll really take off. What makes us successful is that we offer three components of this digital divide that is not necessarily addressed by many organizations. In fact, I think we are probably the only organization across the country that addresses all of them. And that is, number one, giving them a device. Number two, giving them digital training. And then number three, giving them internet access. This is all at no cost to the people we're serving. We're probably reaching anywhere from ages 3 to about 97, I think has been our oldest. So we are cross-generational. We are making impact that is not just for today, but is for 30 years down, 50 years down the road. And we are grateful to have seen some large success, having had well over 22,000 graduates. In the last 5 years, we've probably distributed well over 16,000 devices. We have 200 plus certified instructors. We are expanding throughout Massachusetts now. So we're hitting all gateway cities. We're drawing in closer onto them. And so right now we're in Essex County. We've just moved up into the Western Mass area. We're also landing in Worcester shortly, and we have our eyes on South Shore. So we are really trying to make impact in those crevice spaces, those areas in which are not underscored enough, ignored mostly, and individuals are struggling on their day-to-day basis on how they're going to get by. And so the work that we're doing is in an effort. I'm actually going to take a little step further. The work we're doing is to change their dependence on society, to make them independent, to create their own success.
So go there a little bit on that last statement. And Dahlia, I would love to hear your perspective based on that last statement that he just said. And then let's talk about the intersectionality between decreasing the digital divide and public health. So Marvin, when you talk about that, you're saying that an individual is dependent on the public's,
yes,
or just that government, with all due or whatever osmosis, these things are going to happen. No, you all have an intentionality. Go a little bit deeper there, please.
Yeah. So Dahlia's going to talk about health disparities and dive into there. Yep. I want to talk about, let's look at about education. There's an impact there because there are folks who can't access those tools to learn how to use the system. We have families out there who don't understand what Google is. Who've never been able to access their bank online and have had to walk to the bank or catch a bus to the bank to make a transaction. Okay. You have folks who are questioning whether or not they can develop a small business because they have no idea how to project themselves in this digital space. You start talking about the health disconnection as well. I mean, there's an alarming rate here that doesn't get underscored enough as it relates to digital equity. And I love for Dahlia to expose the conversation about health equity.
Let's bring that in, Dahlia, and also any commentary you want to give in addition to what Marvin has shared about the intersectionality as well. And so let's go there.
Yeah. So I think the easiest analogy is thinking back to the deep, dark days of COVID. the lack of access to the vaccine or medical information, right? Everything was driven by a poorly designed online system to get the vaccine. But if you didn't have a computer, if you didn't have the digital skills and tools to be able to navigate, you didn't have internet access, you were left behind.
Yep.
And we saw this in big ways as we looked at the of who was being hospitalized and who we were losing to COVID. And unfortunately, it was predominantly Black and Brown community members. And so our focus in gateway cities across Massachusetts and in our work writ large is really focused on working with our most marginalized communities. And unfortunately, those communities, that's where that intersection is, right? You start to think about who has access to telehealth, who has access to, economic advancement opportunities.
Yep.
And you layer in lack of access and knowledge base to the digital world, and you start to see that everything is online now, right? You can't everything. You can't advance your career without having digital skills, let alone the access to even apply for jobs. You think about health resources, so much lives online, and we're moving further and further into telemedicine, telehealth. I'm not even going to get into what AI is going to do for
that's a whole.
We can come back for another episode and we can talk about that. But even like transportation, and I'm not going to take us down a rabbit hole, but imagine needing and depending on the MBTA for your transportation to and from work. And I take the T to work when I come into the office, and I am reliant on technology to see if anything's actually running on time, if there are delays, and so everything more and more is moving online. And so if we are not providing the skills and the knowledge and the resources to folks who are already behind, the gap is just going to get greater and greater.
It keeps increasing. And to Marvin's point minutes ago, the piece about going to the bank and whatnot, but there is a correlation there. If you have a co-payment, if you need to get medicine, you have to get to well, first of all, let's say that you can get access to the MBTA website and you hope that you can map out a trip according to the time that they say. Then you got to get to the bank, get the co-payment, get the medicine, get the money for the medicine, then make it back. And so all of this is related to being able to tap into the digital world. And so, Marvin, we talked about education. We're really to talk about that health equity and digital piece. What is it that Tech Goes Home is doing beyond? And when I heard your full description, I'm just going to be my authentic self and say, so folks know, you don't just put people in a training class for 6 to 12 hours and give them a device. That's not what you're doing. Both of you are like, no. And so how the intentionality of Tech Goes Home in not only decreasing the digital divide, but where is the intentionality to ensure that those that need it? You talked about the crevices in this state, and let's just name, though disproportionately impacting people, Black and brown folks.
Right.
We can't negate the fact that those in rural areas, and I'm sorry, go ahead, sir. What are y'all doing specifically around the health equity piece?
So we're partnered with several health institutions in an effort to really address this systematically.
Yeah.
So if you think about how you will go to your doctor's office and you will, go through the registration process, you'll go through all these series of steps. However, if you're unfamiliar with the process, then you will be delayed It will impact your visit. It will overwhelm you with it'll overwhelm you what you started out with, right? So you came in for one thing and you're leaving out with multiple other things based
Yep.
upon this discrepancy. And so what we have began to do is to create curriculum in conjunction with these health institutions in an effort to not only educate their patients, but also to educate their staff on how to interface with their patients, because we are developing culturally competent curriculum
Yep.
that speaks to the individual where they are, not where they're expected to be, that speaks in a language that is familiar with them. Okay. Because 9 times out of 10, an instructor will give out information, not at Tech Goes Home, but those who are teaching technology, they will speak with a different tongue than most of the individuals on the other end can receive.
And they're not getting it.
And they're not getting it, right? And so what we've been fortunate to be able to do is to work with a number of our volunteer corporate partners to develop our curriculum in multiple languages.
Really? Okay.
So that the people we serve are learning in their native tongue, and that they're not having to, there's not this disparity around, I must know English in order to get this information. No, we're already thinking about how do we ensure that, yes, you learn English because you're in an English speaking country, but how do you understand the dynamics of the systems that are surrounding you if you don't know it in your language, your native tongue? So we are striving to make those sort of adjustments in that space. And, for us, it's really, I can't underscore this enough. We want to meet people right in their moment.
Yeah. And what are the type of moments, in case somebody is watching that may be interested in taking advantage? What are the type of moments, Dolly, you can speak to this as well, that people, the entry point, when they come in, what are those type of clients that you really sit back and you smile and like, wow, this was someone that had this deficit, and then we were able to do that. What are the moments where people can tap in?
So there are so many moments. I think there are 2 points here. One, I think what you're asking is, what are our priority populations that we're focused on working with, right? And so we work with a lot of immigrants. We work with a lot of folks who are facing housing instability or who are unhoused. We work with a lot of folks who are unemployed. And we work with a lot of folks who are reentering. I think, any of these moments apply. I also just want to bring forward the fact that people's circumstance can change in a moment.
Right.
And
absolutely.
So, we don't want to cast a blanket. What we do though, and I think really what makes Tech Goes Home unique, is that we don't just parachute into a community and find folks and start working with them. Right. We partner with organizations who are already on the ground, who are already working with populations who are the most marginalized, who already have that trust with the individual constituents. And we provide our tools, our curricula, the computers, the internet access, the training to their staff to really uplift their mission and their work, because they know and understand what their folks need. We don't. We can't go across the whole state and meet every single person, right? So it's really about building a sustainable network of digital navigators, honestly, who can then work directly with constituents, meeting them where they are, as Marvin highlighted.
It's interesting. We talk about this intersectionality. You all have the digital navigators, and people like Mass Health Connect and whatnot talk about the health navigators. And so there's even that correlation there. Marvin, you look like you wanted to add to that.
Listen, we could talk about this all day, but one of the things I think that is not underscored enough is that we are trying to not only change one person in a household's life, but everyone who lives in the household's life.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that is something that makes us very distinct. When you think about it, you think about high school, or you think about any step in your life where you find a mentor or your child finds a mentor, and then that child grows under those gates of information. And then there is this discrepancy between the family and the child. There's that dynamic of division at this point that this gets created because of the growth. We are working to eliminate that, to ensure that everyone in the household is growing simultaneously, so that yes, one will know a little bit more than the other. However, they will find that there is balance between them, so that therefore they can educate each other and they can continue to build each other, and that they're not losing the direction of making sure that everyone is trying to reach something higher, right? And so I think that's something that we are very unique at. You start talking about the digital navigators, you start talking about stories. Let's start talking about the mere fact that there are individuals who were incarcerated, come out, take one of our courses, and then create their own source of income. So they are no longer dependent upon the government to take care of them, but that they can actually create wealth for their family, and they can change the dynamic of what their community looks like. We can talk about facts where you have family members, mothers, who would take our course so that they could ensure that their 4 children had a device to use in their home, so that they could go out and do their homework, or they could reach their doctors, or they could interface with family. We can also talk about seniors who are no longer isolated because they're taking a program, and the skills that they've acquired to be able to connect with their family members who are in other countries, or those who are in states across from them, or they can skip the traveling on the bus process to actually logging in and doing a telehealth appointment, because that appointment didn't require them to physically be there. But in previous times, they had to struggle, find the funds to get on the bus, travel to the bus, get on the bus, deal with the issues on the bus, get off the bus, and then walk into the doctor's office and have to deal with whatever they might receive from that receptionist, and then get to the back and sit there for an hour. And then we're cutting all that out because we're giving them the ability to be able to sit in their living room or sit in their private space, get online and interface with their doctor.
I'm going to start this segment with Marvin and end with Dahlia. Marvin, with all due respect, you need income. You are a skilled, strategic brother. Why is your position even needed? And you know where I'm going with this. Why is it even needed? Chief advocacy officer. This should be a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Bipartisan no-brainer. Whatever your social economic status is. May not be a no-brainer to those that want to keep the Dahlia. I saw that. Don't get me started. Okay. Why is something like your position even needed? This should be a no-brainer to the legislature. This should be a no-brainer to corporations. And you do have, and feel free to name some of the partners, but why this? And then with that, are you all going after any advocacy or legislation to support this?
We're going for everything. So, and I'm being honest.
Yeah.
We are attacking every avenue possible to identify and secure resources that are going to benefit our learners. We want to expand and grow. We want to reach more people. This organization has lived on the word of mouth approach for many years.
Yeah.
We are growing beyond the word of mouth process.
Okay.
We are now reaching in spaces where there are organizations not only that come to us, but they come to us with a list of referrals so that we can bring those folks on board at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting calls, other team members are getting calls, Dahlia's getting calls, our CEO is getting calls, our partnerships team is doing a wonderful job. We are growing the number of relationships that we have in the community because there are organizations out there that are struggling and they don't have the answer. And we're just fortunate to be able to combine with their missions to create this success. But you ask why my job is important. There needs to be someone willing to ask the questions and to push an agenda that will create change in this space. You can't expect a legislator to understand a dynamic that they've never experienced, or that their family member has not experienced, or because of their privilege, they are limited sometimes in their view. Now, there are very few of us who sit in that state house who actually understand the dynamics of some of the things that are faced by the people that we serve. But there are and that's a very few margin, a small margin. You start to get into, let's talk about what this means. I'm having conversations with legislators where we're bringing up data points, and in those data points, they are surprised to know the impact in their own districts.
And then it becomes an issue.
And then it becomes an issue, right? But then there are some who are very skilled, very aware, very astute, but most of them look like you and I. Okay? And so what we are doing is we are not only talking about this in a state level, we're talking about the municipal level. We have an excellent relationship with the city of Boston. The city of Boston helped us to get our footing in this work. And so that relationship is going extremely well, but we're trying to expand to other municipalities as well so that we can create that same synergy, and we can also avail different types of resourcing. So I want to go back and say that the economic empowerment of this work is tremendous for us. That's what we really want to do. We really want to change people's lives economically, because if we change you economically, then you can change for the good for your entire family overall, right? I'm not saying that you're going to get more money and then you're going to create success immediately. What I'm saying is we're trying to teach you how to sustain life, because if you can sustain life, then you can actually create that generational impact that will lead down a pathway of larger success. And Tech Goes Home we got a lot of things going on, but here's one thing I'll give you a teaser on. We have decided that because our work is community centric, we had to figure out how do we create opportunity to keep the community's voice at the table always.
So what are you announcing here?
We're not announcing. We're not announcing.
Well, we will come to you, Jimmy, when
we will come to you as soon as it's ready.
Y'all heard it here. They said they'll come here. Harry and y'all watching in the background. Okay, thank you.
But we have figured out a way. We figured out a way to keep the community's voice at the table throughout the tenure of our work, and they will continue to be the central focus of how we execute. Dahlia mentioned it earlier. Our goal is to listen and respond to what we hear, not give what we anticipate is needed.
Correct.
Dahlia, correct. Go ahead. Go deeper as we get ready.
And I just want to add, Marvin, the reason your role exists is because we believe and are deeply committed to addressing the root causes of the digital divide. And, just like in public health, we got to go upstream. We can't go downstream. Right. Yeah. And so, Marvin's role and our whole advocacy team is dedicated to addressing, the racial and social, systems that got us here in the first place. Right. And we can't, if all we did was provide the three legs of the stool, right? The computers, the skills, and the internet, and ignore the why our program even exists, then we would be doing everyone a disservice. And so that's why we are invested in our advocacy work. We are invested in making sure that those who feel the impact the greatest have a voice at the table, and integrating that into our program delivery model.
Y'all are going somewhere with this voice at the table and making sure the communities, but whatever. Y'all let me know when y'all ready to make the announcement somewhere along the line of a Tech Goes Home community advisory board or community advisory advocate. Y'all may be promoting. I could tell by the way Marvin sat back. Okay.
Listen, man, we listen. Dahlia hit the nail on the coffin. I get passionate about this, and so, this is something that, when I got involved, it was an interesting time. It was during the pandemic. We were dealing with the fact that we were all home. For my household, we're trying to use the internet simultaneously. We were getting bumped. I think I told the story before. I was actually delivering a sermon online one night and got cut off 3 times. And
now, you
and
know,
I was
they say that's the devil. No, that wasn't the devil. That was the digital divide.
listen. That was a digital divide. I ain't even going there. But listen, let me tell you that the important fact for me in that moment was that I was in a very fortunate position, right?
Yep.
You know, where we could afford the cost. But I started the process and say to myself, listen, before I was in a position where I could afford, I was in a disposition where I couldn't. And so understanding what that disposition looks like on a day-to-day basis, my conversations are spoken from that deficit. I understand that complexity, and I understand what it is to wake up and not have, and what it is to wake up and be dependent upon what's coming in the mail, and figuring out that if I want to make that change, I got to sit at the table and I got to be the voice for it.
Mhm.
And so this is not designed just because we woke up at Tech Goes Home and said, hey, we need to start advocating for ourselves. You know, like Dahlia said, Tech Goes Home decided before I came on board that they wanted to address these root causes. In order to do so, that they needed someone to get that work done. I'm just fortunate to be in this position to be able to do it. So on a day-to-day basis, the stories and things that we share are based upon truth, based upon practicality, and based upon the reality of our circumstances of the people we serve.
It's interesting because there are all type of testimonies in here around the pandemic from some of our seniors and others. As tech as I thought I was, I learned so as tech as I thought I was. I learned so much and met some wonderful people during my time in the Tech Goes Home program at the beginning of the pandemic. To Sharon's point here, there was a waiting list, but what I'm taking away from that is there's so many people that need the service. You all have this relationship with Brother Eric over at UCB Boston. But this is just a testament to the fact that there's a waiting list because so many people need the service, need the device and whatnot. And so it's just, there are all type of testimonies in here.
Let me speak to that if I can.
Yes, sir.
So yes, the waiting list was extensive at some period of time, and then we made some adjustments on our end so that we could accommodate it. And basically we were dealing with a capacity issue for staffing. And so we had to ramp up. Tech Goes Home 5 years ago had about 3 to 5 employees. It currently is staffed at 22, and it is scheduled to reach somewhere north of 30 before end of 24 potentially. We are
one of them teasers, but go ahead.
Listen. We are growing, but we're growing because we are finding that in order to meet this demand, we have to fill the gap with qualified people. But not only qualified people, I would say that most of our staff has lived experiences that affords them the capacity, the mental capacity to be able to manage the people, their circumstance, and where they're going without discomfort and without making them feel inadequate or inefficient or any of the sort. No judgment. Because they know their plight. And we purposely, and this is a kudos to our CEO, Dan Noyes, and our previous co-CEO as well. They had the forethought to ensure that the people that they were bringing on board were individuals who understood the dynamic of the work. Yeah. And it wasn't just about you are fit, but it was about you get it. And so we hire looking for people who get it, with the understanding that if they get it, it'll be easy for them to adapt to the culture and to advance the work on the ground.
Dahlia, I'm going to give you the opportunity to make the closing statement. But you all, in addition to what you're doing in the tech place, I hope that someone somewhere, you all get an intern or whatnot that can really extract the model. There is a model here that you all have that goes beyond what you're doing to decrease the digital divide, the piece about the multiple languages, the piece about the community input. There are so many pieces here that you take the tech away and you put in food desert, you put in, I don't know, economic development. There's a model here that I think that you all need to really extract and start to document, because you're having impact, but it's being done in a very succinct I won't say slow. What's the word? Succinct, impactful. There was this joke out of Marvin. I don't know if he was around when Ken Edlin was here over at Rocks Comp, and there was this joke, and I'm going to try to say it as respectfully as possible. There were two male cows up on the hill. Y'all may have heard this before, and the male cows is like, "Let's go down and do something with the young women. Let's run down." And one of the older ones said, "No, let's take our time and just take advantage of the whole herd." And so it's this distinct, sustainable, long-term, because this is even, here's another intersectionality. And I'll shut up, and Dottie, you can close this out. What we're doing is changing. This is a 5-10 year mission out. I hope y'all realize and are ready for that, because
we're already preparing.
But so is changing the system and bringing into the fold health equity, starting with the doctors and the attendings. And then you mentioned a little bit, Marvin, whatever they're going to deal with the receptionists.
Right.
Now that, and so this has to stay in. Are you all involved with the health equity compact, folks?
Currently, we're not.
I will email Harry and get y'all connected, and because the health equity compact, I think they need to be made aware of this component to ensure that somewhere in there, because they're doing a lot at the legislature, somewhere in them line items and in their bullet points and whatnot, this digital piece, and not saying that it's not in, but I'll help make that connection, because the more that we go together, the more that we get done. Dahlia, closing remarks. Did we miss anything? And how can people support and or take advantage? I just wanted to mention before we have you close us out, for those that are partners or working at programs that love the model and you can't do it in your own program, this is the link here. It's Hypered. Become a TG8 site. I believe all you have to do is maybe be a nonprofit or a for-profit, or figure it out. But this is where you can go and get more. If a for-profit is trying to do it, that's a good thing. But they also have profit. So anyway, Dahlia, closing remarks. Did we miss anything?
I don't think we missed anything. And I had a point to make and it totally flew out of my head, but par for the course. I think, we can't do this alone, as you're saying.
Yep.
And it is, I think that what you were saying, Jimmy, is so right, that there is a special sauce in here, and we are exploring how that can grow. Yeah. I think about, in my mind, it's like all of those crazy wires that when you think about online and technology, right? It's that. But folks certainly can support us. I think, I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't say that we take donations. We're a nonprofit.
Your development. Let's keep it 100. Your development. Is there a donate button on the website?
There is certainly a donate button on the website. Okay. And every dollar counts, right? But honestly, also those connections to those anchor institutions in the communities that are doing this work on the ground across our state. Also, we love those opportunities as well. So this is a long road, but I think the reality is that this is something that can be solved, right? Our goal as an organization is to, at some point, no longer be in business because there no longer is a digital divide. So, how we do that, to Marvin's point, in terms of our investment and who we bring onto the team, is also about how we respond and stay current with community needs, because we know tech moves fast. And so what was the need of yesterday is not going to be the need of tomorrow. And so how we continue to push forward, we need everyone at the table for that. So.
Absolutely. Before we get ready to go, and as you said, tech changes fast. Marvin has to, I know you said he was going to have the last word. Marvin wants to add one last thing. You all, your team is in the building. We are so grateful for our community partners who help make this work possible. I just wanted to put in here, as Dahlia was mentioning, she would not be doing her job as a development officer, and I have no problem sharing it. Go to the website. It is hyperlinked in the comments. There is a donate button there. that you can consider donating, and no amount is too little. $5, $10. You can do that as well, or you can do.
I want everybody to feel part of it.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Or you can connect us to somebody whom you think would be really excited to invest in Teco's home.
And remember, those small dollar donations, they make impact.
Absolutely.
They make impact and they add tremendous value. Here's what I wanted to say.
Yes, sir.
469,000 people in gateway cities in Massachusetts do not have a device. No
Almost
computers.
500,000 people in this. Okay. Even after the pandemic and getting all the Chrome.
Correct. 220,000 do not have internet. Okay. When you think about that, the internet piece, we are working on the Affordable Connectivity Program, trying to, and as you probably are aware, and many are aware, there's a huge debate in Congress right now about whether those funds are going to continue to be renewed.
Yep.
And we are working tirelessly in an effort to lobby Congress around these resources so that we can see if we can get this line item continued. But on the ground, we have done some enormous work around trying to get, right now, we pay for internet for the people we serve. It comes out of our budget. And we are working to try to get our folks the resources that the federal government has allocated for them by getting them directly connected to the Affordable Connectivity Program. So many of our courses that are ran offer that as a service so that families can immediately get that access. There's a delay with that. There's a whole operational challenge with that process. And we work through navigating you through that process so that you can deal with it without headache. And I'll give you one quick example. An individual had made the phone call, did not understand how to walk through the process. We got on a call, we actually did a Google Meet together, got on a call with the folks at FCC, walked them through the process, got their information. They didn't have identification because they were from other countries. We walked through those processes. It took them maybe 6 weeks to get it finalized. Okay. And we walked through that 6 weeks with them because we really believe that if we're going to speak to the work, we have to understand the people. In order to understand the people, you got to meet them and help them. And you can't be afraid to have that moment where it's like, just because it didn't work right now doesn't mean it won't work later.
Yep. And supporting them and advocating.
So I just wanted to share that and say that the Affordable Connectivity Program is something that we are working to ensure that those resources continue. And if there are any folks out there who want to speak about it and have a voice to it, we'd love to connect with you in any effort as we are pushing out our agenda.
And that announcement. And so
that announcement will come.
And that announcement, make sure it's it stays right here. D, good morning. Good to see you listening in from Baltimore. And so thank both of you for coming on today.
Thank you for
sharing this information with the community, because Sharon said that she got her computer in a hotspot. So I can blame y'all for the fact that Sharon is always on. With Jimmy, recruiting for UCB. I guess they get an hour today. So like UCB gives out points for people to participate. Java with Jimmy is one of those venues where they get points for watching.
Excellent.
So thanks to you all with sharing in this computer in your hotspot.
Yes.
Yes.
So no, I'm messing. But thank both of you for being here with us today. Keep us abreast. And I'll make that connection with the folks over at the Health Equity Compact, because this has to be a part of that. And there's the BCRC, the Boston COVID Recovery Coalition or something like that, around like long COVID and things like that may not recover a face-to-face appointment, but they may need to see a long COVID doctor to just assess where they are. So this is long-term. Thank both of you. Dahlia, there's a follow-up question here, and I'm only laughing because I know Pastor Marion. She's still waiting for.
You just email me.
Tell her
on the website. We'll get you sorted out.
Yeah, send a message over. We'll take care of you.
I wasn't here in early 2022, but I will get you taken care of.
We got
you know Pastor Marion.
Yes, of course.
So that's why I'm sitting up here falling out, because she's as sweet as possible. But y'all didn't get me my.
She gonna make sure it's all worked out.
We will.
Like you all do for
the
folks that you all serve as well. Thank both of you for being here. And keep us abreast, and I'll make that connection as well.
Excellent.
All right, brother.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate you.
Appreciate both of you. Thank you.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Listen, folks, if you know folks that need to take advantage of what Tech Boston is offering, please go to the website right here, not only to donate, but to get information about to take advantage of the resources that they have available for you. Please do so. Covered this at the beginning of the show, but y'all are going in about these gift cards, Jesus. Y'all remind me of 2020. Oh boy, because that's how we supported a lot of the community, and folks was not playing with them gift cards. So Sharon emailed them, Pastor Marion emailed them, and they will get you circled back for you guys gift cards. I said in the beginning of the show, we are in the process of transitioning, and so there's some automated things that are going on with the date for the flyers. I got your text. Thank you so much for looking out. The team appreciates it as well. They were like, yo, the Java fam does not play. And so I appreciate all of you. We will not be on tomorrow morning. All right. We will not be here in the Java Cafe tomorrow morning. However, at 12 noon, we will be going live from the News Cafe at the Boston Public Library for Java with Jimmy at GBH. So please plan to tune in and support that and share it, invite others to watch it, as well as if you were in the Copley Square Back Bay area, please plan to come down at 12 noon and join us at Java with Jimmy at GBH. Thank all of you for tuning in this morning. We will be back on Thursday. Let me go in here real quick and figure out who's coming on Thursday. Jesus, hold on. On Thursday, we have who's coming. Thursday, I believe we have the young man from, I want to say Springfield, Justin Hurst, Springfield Counselor at Large and mayoral candidate. Now, I'm going to say this also because I talked to the team about this. We have candidates in Boston. We are kind of figuring that out. And I'm very careful about giving candidate, trying to be as balanced as possible with candidates in an election season. And this is also a platform that has media buys and whatnot. We are trying to ensure and keep this platform supported. And so a lot of candidates do legacy media buys, place ads in papers and whatnot. And so I'm just very careful about that. But we have a candidate that's from Springfield out in Western Mass that is scheduled and will be with us on Thursday. And so I'm just naming that. But we are looking to get especially the at-large candidates on, but a couple of district candidates have reached out. And so we're figuring out sort of a balanced rate with them. And so stay tuned for that for some time in the next 3 weeks or so, around the third week in October, to talking with our city council candidates, most of them, of which I share their values. And if their politics don't demonstrate our values, ain't no amount of money. With that being said, I'm going to get ready to go. You all have a wonderful day, and we will see you tomorrow at 12 noon from the Boston Public Library News Cafe for Java with Jimmy at GBH. And we will be back on Thursday. Tashad, don't get me. Tashad's nickname is about to be Mother. Oh my God. We were fellowshipping the other night, and there's a Heidi, you better say it. All my Pam is in here too. It did. Pam, you should have just put a period. That just would have topped it off. Wonderful. Good to see you. And Pam, if we are ever together in a space and you see I'm doing something, I saw one of the videos from my birthday thing at Grace, and you turned around and kind of like looked and smiled. Woman, you should have brought your happy self over there and sat and had some cake. So if any of you see anything like that, come through. But a period there would have just been all you. All money ain't good money. You got that right. But Tashad is the no amount of money. Stop playing. But Tashad is the church mother. We were fellowshipping the other night, and we were just talking. All I heard from Tashad was like that mother hum. But Tashad, thank you for being a part of the family. Pam as well. Shout out to Boston Wild Black and others. Heidi's a member. I'm a member. I believe Pamela's a member as well. Or Pam, I don't say Pamela. All right, I'm getting off of here. We'll see you tomorrow at 12 noon from WGBH. And we'll be back on Thursday with Brother Hurst from Springfield. You all have a wonderful day. Please share this information about Tech Boston with those that you know, need it. And that is pretty much it. Tashad, mother says she has to meet you. So at the next event, we'll figure that out. I'm off of here. Have a great day, everybody. Thank you all for the support and tuning in. Don't forget, go to the website, www.javawithjimmy.com. Right now, it's a landing page, and you can subscribe to get information, early information about what's going on with the rebrand and other things. So make sure you go to www.javawithjimmy.com to sign up for the mailing list. All right. Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow at 12 noon. Thanks.